Hoka. Hoka hey. Can you guys hear?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear good?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Um, all right. Yeah, we're live. We're good. Good to go. I'm gonna fix these cameras. All right, we'll leave it at that for now. Aho, hi. Good morning, Miu Kiksepaya. Tatamskat nawa kakyo nawagumagantik. Asemina itagutya uta hepe kyugatuya. Igwe aptitaya nehio peaks grown. Yeah, I'm trying to talk Cree, it's hard. But we'll have a little introduction. We'll go around the table, and then when it comes back to me, same thing. We'll open up the floor and we'll get it going. So I think we'll start to my right over here with Miss Harper. My
Nasim Siwagumtan.
this,
Utawi Witamot.
so for me to you,
Nimes.
Nimis.
Nimis. So Nimis ka ni ganuteo. Then we'll come around. Okay. All right.
Roseanne and Sigason. Roseanne Harper La Liberty. Ite. We take us kasi sagay and then yote. Ego ma kihio what's his stan? Tuskean. Nehio peaks ko nehio mam tenate game nehio masnege. Omuta mas
Kiskinamatum.
Kisnamatum.
Kamik.
Kisnamatu gamikik te Tuskean. Miksama.
Atsio. Ja, Raymond McDonald niya sigason. Mutta utsiitsikas sagaiganista. That's why utegin oksian on a reserve. Over 60 years ago. So nista minota kihuats ton tatuskan. Cree language at Tuskatama. Kanihiuya. Muiga wanita ya ka pikskrono. Higwa. That's right on translator mostly translated Utman English words to Cree. Yksumagitsna skait Utman. Ewan mamasna hina tita muy masnama na. Ima mostan giwe masnagana. Exetuga Donna Hego.
Hi.
Tatamskat naonista. Dana McDonald and Sigason. Ogisigus ne hiawigason. Utautinista witigas kisio saga igane. Gagiutawian. Ivan McDonald gisigasu. Gagiugawian. Edna McDonald. Whitstone gisigasu. Iguaya. Kas ginitaw ganista. Uta Lloydminster magning ginitawgin. Nyanum tano awag. Nyana na skill mega gigats. Kaya si pamitita ko. Magayam, ni stektots into tatas kano tayam. Kihewats tani. Nihio we win. Nihiao win. Nagamanista na epe uitita maite gue. Kiskina matugam gue pite gue taya. Awasagekte pe wite hayagok. Snamage wak mine pe wite hayagok. Ayo matanse kis nihio. Kiskina mage tigete apoga kiskina masotik. Nihio we winu ma nihio eto e win. Nihio pe matsuin. Ego gakio nisnan ego pite gue taya. Wite hagok nistanan. Kituskayum nog. Atite tige minayam. Kitse isak. Kawega gue pasiguna mauma. Nihio we win. Kwa ya gutsumutaman ka pia nistana ni gimigo ya pia kisigaw kape nehiyaw ya pia tipay ka na puti pia kiksepa kapia tsimo ya eko kape ito kape ko pagwe na mata nistana nehiyaw wen ego magatos kiaute kamams ko downstairs uta Ray kaite ni epe mamo stat pigiskwao na tapo yan na mista hepiatos ka tamasay kigo hemasnay ka na tas kutsu hekapeta anut sumutapiak masenpai wen masnaygan ektakagi gatsit nen mino matuhe egote osita wistamina widitapista mumuta gutta kayam anian na Cree Nation timeline sigatam kakyo egutta kagi base payek kegatsit gumekse mitata to skills ay wage sis kigoegapm skarte masnaha so atono may minatik atiks pagaw mamasnaygan kwa Roseanne mino magapitat ego minayam word lists nehyo pigisko na minektiastege tas kutski go mayam agitaso no he mancho sak pisiskuak kakyo nektagi go ya patsitsiga na kakyo tastewa kispinoy kanute skata tan sumor ki kwai ka patsita tuwen ki go magawi mam skuta mistake te atoske on tayanan except kape ayam ngagwewi tsita sunanis na ne hewe wene pitaga taga ga pasiguna magawe saman mai kaito tsikman ayam kakwene hewe agawe osame goes kagi taskutse natawi ko ya natawi go magipix ko no siga kami matute nanis tanan nanas ko mo nanutso kape witapma o skinigis Fraser nanas ko man wistato ni egagwe ko tsite ni hiawet ego minagot takawaya Davis nanas ko man ego anamina egagwe ni hiawet sigwistawa puti pe apo kakagi sumotsik ego katsim sutsik mina padegonista nanas ko tin ay hi
Hi, Donna. I just want to say something. This listening to you guys and listening to you, Donna. Um, um, it's really beautiful, to hear the language. I think a lot of times, like I grew up that way. My mom and dad would always be talking Cree as a kid for me and my gugum, my mushroom. So I grew up around it, and it was abundant, or it was it was what my ears heard like almost every day for until I started getting older. Um, and so I understand a lot of it. And then I moved away to university when I was 18, and I kind of got disconnected there, especially with my gugum. Um, And then I started reading like Western education learning, you know. I did a lot of reading, and my brain seemed like my brain got filled up with a lot of English vocabulary. And like I learned a lot about the English language. But I kind of, not on purpose, but I kind of left the Nehiwin, and I didn't have access to it. I was in Regina, like 7 hours from home, and didn't know a lot of people over there. So it was very rare to hear the language. When I did hear it, I understood it, and it was like I was at home again. And but ever since then, though, it's been rare. Like even my mom and them with their grandkids, uh, seems like English is more now. More English is being used now. Not the way they were with me and my siblings. It was always Cree. And but so just listening to you saying everything you said all in Cree, like I think even that's rare nowadays, and just in the general community. Even though a lot of people can speak it, I think out of respect they choose English to a young person like me or whoever, because they don't want to be offensive, or something like that. So which which I'm hoping we can change that, maybe, or help out in that area with this to encourage the Cree speakers out in the community to choose Cree over English, to share the language, and to know. I can't speak for everybody, but you're not offending. I don't think you're offending us, or anything like that. So just to be comfortable to use the language and to prefer to use it, I think it'll do more for us and our future. But yeah, just listening to you say all of that in Cree, yeah, it really kind of struck something with me, just because of how rare it is nowadays. So yeah, so I just want to acknowledge you for that and say thanks for that, and all of you guys too, to keep using it. um so I think with that, we'll get into this. I know you guys got some books, and you probably have some things you want to bring in and share. Again, there's no agenda, so however you guys want to do this, whatever you guys want to share, kigwe nute tasigaman moinanto. And yeah, so I think with that, kaute na matinawaw, pagwis giwaw. Hey.
Pagi sa tinote, tatsa mo ako.
Yeah. There's that.
Kaya kikoy ni kapot si Scott's kati ka matita no. Ikaw magapeo tatos kya. Itam gapeo tatos kya. Istan tatugis sigaw manapit papitos kigoy. Ipito ko tamago ya. Apo epegyo get siga sino agoto mayam. Kapo na megisiga ke ko kanisugisiga kita gute wak aya. Uteu aya. Aya. Mistay sagay gani. Tigoy. Exampam gay sigate. Mistay sagay gani. Larange. Eko ayam. Pegyo get sigwistaw. Kiskinaw matugam ganu tewa pata ke ko aya tansi six namage. Tunin mamiti goguga snamage wag mustahe. Kape wicha toske mati ka wasa. Pix namage tik. Oguta taskutsa ya Chief Taylor. Nga muihawag itigo eh. Wakakyoge ka hewatstan ksnamagi wag oitsitaso giguta. Ay oniga Neil. Utimi nayam Chief Taylor. Nehiyok ksnamagi tip ngyugoayagok. Ay Marlene Patagin nego Audrey Patagin neguta. Nego tots ne teutse go ayam. Sagas kutsa tispay na nektegan gyugoanan na kaya. Ikta ya ksnamagi wag Patronella Lewis, Jessica Harper. Maga moini sono egonik nuab mana nago sam yagam ksnamagi tik soman kagipite ko anan. Iktaos kinigis kamatuen kamot. Antayam. Itagitea gaptigutse. I goe tagagita goan pamuta nane tapen getan. Taugiksin tohin tatituta nano mekto maya. Keteak man gautaptik. Iktanos kinigis se papiago peten gamot pe tegagi taksu tunskas pa miwi taksu atsogekte iganan tutawaya stoa puti newon gamone go ten gamusta magwa singa gisita nan kawes kan toks na max te go ya sewe paitan na as ektega kan toks na max te example kan toks na max yan to nsto tago nan gane hiya o te segi na max to tagi hiwats tan istanos kinigis Egume kat kagisitat nisosap grade 12 kat kagisitaw Johazen sigaso petin kinstoy mao at go tene go miuitakso gumin nanas ko mao stay nanas ko mao gan gamusta mago ya tiga gisigyo kya akawe go te gaya sawanok tatis painan Igo skwita ako ga sino agnianan kisna matugam go astege ego mitetse ga wasak pe Igo mieta ke wapata ke sigi go Nitego pewa sena gan pitego na nitegbin gyugo na ya Sarah kiskinamagyo te Sarah waskewch ni yok snamagyo gamusta mago agok minek tego ni ganggayam piakay mitatsik ayam tamin gagyuga na yam Tanay so hekak snamatu kam guhe stahanik te astegi kigo itaskot saya Ama nagkakaasi mo occupational therapist kaito eh. Ego tominik teyat awasa witsato skemat. Ego anhayam itigo musihuna ka nagatuga tagik sensory rooms ego to existe pa miasina. Mesta higi gwe go mamsta hayam. Witsegas kusiyo sagay gano may mamiti go yan. Musita nekte ego pamuapatiw yan ego mo atit mapugak skitsig yan ikte astege. But nanas ko mo minikte ay Mr. Misawa ay Ms. McDonald te gyugoya. Ego tots kawe ko nete sawano kay wagi sisigot ya kiheo sapun. Temin gagyuga na natsyo. Magikte ko ase ka kiwo ko wasa gigo ko skapsi ko siwewi pata tsika wasak. Home time bell. Ikta agapin tago pa ya. So kapegi sik egyugya o te matita gihewats tanikte awasakin gamot sige kagi sumotsik. But nanas kuman gakyo gamma nisugisiga wo hekte kagyugya. Ego minete mayam sauna kastik Harlan man gasiga te miname te minetutya. Mam tatagagapsin no gekte taskinom ego tapo gatawasisik imiasik. Beautiful light of beautiful uma. Stagi go minekte wapatak. But ya gumine ito yana ya. Kispinek suhe yam papito suhe ya. Ti paska na. Ito maga peutsia. Kawitsito ya. Gese kapito ko tayo magapasigunan makinehya no. Visto avek se go ituta ge visto aminek se me go atsu ma momsta he inehya wit to asim swao semawa matite te go tapo gaksnamwe wag maga ya status ke unito mana tapuan ma ayam kinehya no ma nehya pix ko no kaga memo tota ma go tapo freezer kaito Kispintapue kakyo kaisinehiawe kaisikaskitaye kanehiawe kanehiawe kakamimoya kanehiawe apawasak mana ya kapik squata go gektamina nehiawe kispine stuta gonok ektegati witse hayagok Pagay samga witse hayagok ego gamamsko to gagintox na max nistam eksegit ngyan mana gagintox na max yan ego totsa yam giat naksko ga sino geni hewetsik das kutsman ayam igi mouse sagunte ya gravitate toward each other gane hewe ama ninan manegek temps papapia mamutsikita mamutsigotama ego yam tapo ego nek kapits man ego nek mitse waganin pugiteutse ya ne kutaga geni hewetsik ay sino ego minta po ego magaitin magatse petaman kispino magapet man kita waga yaman sage gwen stone wata po gwen awina waga ne hewete mas so apin man bisman atogem skag tatsanik tin to matsatse mo svanigi semyasige gwanma but ego nista gamam skuta man your brain filled with English and then you had to like that's good a switch man and that's how I think about it kawagi pegi yan man kaman gini yan ay ni gumawak kapits keep up mats mani plagi pegi yan kaman my switch Cree switch would come back on kaman gini yan nisto kawag man gagi wanyan Saskatoon kaman it would turn off until kapito so it's there's like a switch in me, in my brain, my ears, my tongue. Guys, mom tunita man mi naman. And we were talking about that. I think it was maybe a few weeks ago. Tansuma gipe sa tuskata maiguan matani tansuma gano gapit sa snehiya. I was thinking, mama, there's a switch. I think, to be fluent in English, to read, write, or read, comprehend, write in English, to be able to speak it. Ego to mi nego Scots kagwiskin naman to read, write, comprehend in Cree. Kakyo gane gais instituta man gais masnay gain gais ay mitain kane hiwas de kigoy taskuts it's a switch for me. That's how I see it. And maybe it's not for everybody. Mo itaga pugakyo ex isimam tunita mo apumanas ko ayam. Oyagam gatsi mo stout kigwe in English. In my head man, and this is something I'm just gonna share with you. In my head, it's like a translation. I translate it and sometimes I'll write it in my head in Cree, in SRO, then I'll switch it to syllabics. That's how my brain works. Apo ay tugaminap pawatin mi naman. So I'm totally immersed. That's good sayam. Kape mam tunita man. Kita to skill no matanso may wak tagi si tutama. So instugane man translated ni tutaman. Apo ayam kispin like in university. I would read a question in English. In my head, I translate it to Cree, answer it in Cree. On the paper, I translate to English. And that's how my brain worked. And I think it still does. So, itigoy po gaya makes ya to figure out how Tansuma, how can we do this and how can we work it? And it's only in the individual themselves. So kistanoga katos kistamaso agigoy. Mosayak squats kagi pits na mago no taskutsum pix ko na atakagyat kagam sinamuano ak pix ko when we sto magek pagkagweno gagin tuit tagik. Ego sinots kisiwit sa sin pagagam maga awasak mi nagispinta po first language is aga asimwen as a young child, and this is studies have shown, and now I'm going to bring in my scientific nerdy ways. See, studies have shown awas sagoge from ages, well, newborn, even prior to birth. Kapeta age go mapikskwaon. So if they hear the language, the Cree language, ego nick know what's they soak it in, they soak it up. So kaito itsigmana, language is innate. It's inside of you prior to even being born. Kispino magkakapetak ni when asegan stuta they'll have an ear for it, and they'll have a tongue for it, because it does have to have that ear, the sound system ang maganstuta the tongue tas kuts mo uhuta guys mas negative in the standard Roman orthography. Tia magaitas it doesn't sound like a t in Cree. It sounds like a t t. Even the K sounds like a, it doesn't sound like a k. It sounds like a g, like a hard K in between a K and a G. So the sound system is different. That's good. I mean, a P. It doesn't sound like a p. It sounds like a p, a hard P.
Ego C.
Ego C mean a C sound doesn't sound like a s or a k in cat, or a C in
Um,
peace.
Seller.
Peace seller. Oh, it doesn't sound like to have that sound. It sounds like a t, a TS mix. Tss, tss, tsa. But yeah, so our sounds are different. In the standard Roman orthography writing system, they do have them in the English alphabet, but because already we understand and we see those sounds, and we say associate with the English language, like the P is the P in pot, the T is the T in top, the C is the C in cellar, or cat. Um, so, and like all of those sounds, they have a distinct sound in our language. When you write them now in syllabics, then because you see that symbol, the symbol P, P-I, which is like a V straight up like that. Yeah, I'm just like in the air writing. That's a P, 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 a P. So you don't even see the letter P or the letter I in that. You just have this V upside down and it's pointing up, and that's a P. So, and if you see that sound right away, you say P, and then you put an A in front of it, which is a triangle that's faced that way, and that's a P. And there's only two symbols. So it's kind of like, I think it's easier. And
Yeah.
I think Mr. Mac would say that too. It's
Uh-huh.
easier to read in syllabics than it is to read in the standard Roman orthography. Samut mean a sound system, and then you have those symbols memorized, and then you read and you write in the syllabic system.
Ego muy mi chetan here symbols.
Mm-hmm.
129 pa naman to.
Moi mitset 129 puko.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
then man agay to it's there's a lot of syllables,
yeah.
over thousands, 2,000. I don't
Really?
know.
Yeah. So our kano manehyon is not very many sounds maga. Tas kut sa papi to so kapix ko chiktas so sigon kay to the dene so many sounds, like the guttural stops, they call them. The what are the other sounds? I can't remember. Nasals, the rises, the intonation. Any intonation difference means a totally different word. I don't even want to try these words, but there are different intonations in words that totally mean something different.
Really?
hmm that's the same with siksiga, siksiga, siksika nation, sutina, wistagonik minixis papitos. So the Cree language is really, I think, I don't, not because I'm fluent in it, but it might be ego man pagagam ayam imam with a
It's just,
siking gate
yeah.
on gate
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Before we go to Roseanne, there's a couple of points that I want to touch on that you touched on. um, something that you mentioned, and I think just as a perspective, like Nissim or Nissimis, Nissi Gamoao, or Nissi Gamoao.
Nisigamuao. Uh-huh.
What does that mean?
Root words on him.
That's good.
To
Yeah.
like pour into
Yeah.
a cup.
Oh,
Like-
sige na mo.
Yeah.
Nisigamuao, like assisting.
Sigamo.
Even assisting, I think that's what that came from. So you're talking about those words. What do you call that group? What do you call that group? Those nerdy group. Geteak. There's that's good say itaman gagintoks na magosin Monday morning aputi Tuesday morning. Ektatsigi taman igoma.
No.
Moya. So there's root words that's good say gugumagumit. Um Sigam wow.
Nisiga.
And that's where those words came from. This seems.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard of those. Guayam. So sigamo is the one where you're pouring your knowledge into. Tas
Yeah.
good si sigamot. Gigom gigas asegak skataman. Ibm sigamot seems.
Yeah. Yeah. So like Nissim. So when you were talking about like encouraging fluent speakers to use the language, especially with kids, I think that same kind of idea applies. You're pouring into the kid or the classroom of kids or whatever, eh? Um, another thing that you kind of reminded me of when you're talking, um, yeah, when I first got, like, this was years ago, I got hired on to work out at a chief's office here for the band. And part of my job was, like, I used to go around with the chief to like treaty gatherings and elders gatherings, and I was an assistant. And the job that he had me do, I remember the first week there was a treaty gathering in Fort Capel, Treaty 4, and we went over there and we met there that morning, and we were having coffee, visiting around, and then they got started, and I asked the chief, what do you like, what do you want me to do, what I, trying to find work. Um, and he said, find a seat in the crowd here, get your notebook, and take notes, write down the notes. I said, okay. Um, and like a treaty meeting, um, so you have chiefs there and you have elders there, and obviously they're gonna talk in the language. So for 3 days, I sat in the crowd and I was taking notes. And the Cree language, I was writing in English. I was what do you call that?
Translating.
Translating in my brain to English, and I was following along with what they were saying and taking notes. Yeah, so by the end of it, like, my notebook was, there was a lot in there. My hand was hurting and I was listening and paying attention, and that was my, like, first real introduction into the whole treaty world and the Nehio Montanetsagan. So yeah, you just reminded me of that when you're talking about university and the way your mind was processing and
Mhm.
translating stuff. Yeah, so I kind of went through that too. And throughout those few years there, that's how it was. He'd take me around with him, and that was my job, part of my job. um, so, but anyway, there was another point, but I forgot it. But it might come back, but it's all right. We'll keep going. We'll hand the floor to Miss Harper. And again, I apologize. I wish I could talk Cree. I'll try. Yeah. Okay.
Nista manesto que mache pix que ane go kaya pets amigos magais agumemo yan esto peta que pet tawa que it mama ko ni papa pix que check sama wita que mana at muna uge uhe pa pix que check e kwa maik ta mana ni nanek ta ipia tepia pa pet maki ko ito check nuta wi manua once kat nianan tepaigan ite ay gaya mana ito tet kiwet no kekteisa ni potekta ay gaya maikta sa west sa gestenak pakchi mana ikta macha kagis motekteisa ay gaya mana apito kisakan enak ay sawa no kekteisa pugol mampast kite yon ay na neo net niketos sa megwat saya egwa paksmuta manuma egwa wapata taps could say taps could sa musto like moy gois taps could pasita sitte go maya pisim na itakch aseo maya kigatsa pakchwa November
Igo pisim.
ko pisim sama amis kiti ko running the roads tan si ito amis kwa kiti ko pamute wake kwa si tatsik was kaigan sak sama mana petaman sama megwats niya sama
Hi, hi. Mr. Mac.
Niga. Mam tanita man gaito igan what's Ansis mam tanita mik iki kwecham guan pego university agito and what kiwa mam tanita gan apachita and Cree apuche English ngitigon. Mat tansis mam tanita man. Kapik squatago mat you think in Cree apuche English. Muy skating. It's up there. Muy translation tapos taman to naman kiko mga siya mag-institute taman dan sito yung man isto mo mountain ito man ay my first language isto mag Cree kape went out na nag-aasya mo nag-experience kaya kamachik na maksa isto man a Cree gipit man so teacher kagita ko ano ba puwega quick skate man English gititin so I caught on simak the teacher bita kon English yapachitan maga dito to go to women to spit ako kaya singman. So first job I got the Cree instructor. Spa Kanolik nga to skagon. Muy onilik no te kuchita nixpi. Si gaspuit tani kitita man. Eso may ano no winter ikiktimaksya kapio pikian. Iki ewa much entreganote way we from that way of life. We so kuchina kwekisita na high school, university. Just to get away from that life ikitita man. I think it worked out. It's like I've been working for, I don't know, 15, 20, 35 years. University Gagikisita 1984. August 4th, 1984. Convocate agitutuman. My degree got naman. Expiman na. Muy got so good next ko in Lagos on that university grounds. At Mrs. Muskego, Pauline, Egwa Clifford Carter, his late wife. Egwa naging stay bagay ko taman ni Lagos magaya kutakak magay. Nag-open music on ka, so I don't know. It doesn't count. Maga, they were new to Anin Lake XP. So. Maganda Mike manigot next ko Anin Lagos. A few years later, go in yan you guys every turn you guys go naman Anin Lake manigot next ko. So about 5 years later, tiga. What did I start it man? Yeah. Yeah, you go straight in. Yeah, kusit ko I'm tipian sa no tito.
Hi. Mrs. Mac.
It's Ms.
Ms.
Just
Mac.
kidding. I'm not a Mrs. I Tipi ang gata te mi na rega gigs na max kiskisana no tawi pan gagin toks na max twista. Agitawi ana isista gigs na magyo. He was a teacher. He graduated out of Tanspiana 1986. No, moya.
Disco.
86 and pagagam gaget kisitat man. 87.
97.
97.
Mm-hmm.
Tapoy kinwes. 87.
Yeah, 97 that's it.
How old was he again? He was
My dad was like
63 pa mix.
Uh-huh. He was like in his 60s. Kaget visitat 2 years get sama geopogo. And then his knees spimana mo guys mustagi keep muteo. Nagamina get to skahita sa outdoor ed teacher. Tapos ito his forte but style sam gip muteo ay wakit witi ka nagagiyata Mother no get they weren't his knees weren't working well, so si mag-retire get dito them, but he graduated with a degree from the U of S, and I thought it was in the 80s. I lost 10 years not to.
Tanspe tawagit. Nukset.
Ginitaw git kagyutaw yan ginitaw go February 10th, 1924. Ayo maya utom this past February mitata atom tanom gay tato panel. He would have been 100 years. So megaya 18 years ago kagi nagataskit. 18 years ago, the 24th of this month. So Yeah, it would have been his 100th birthday this past February. But yeah, kinuesa na igi kagi pix na maxit pugi timine gwana igi skisian internship man igi tuta water hen kak iktigmine tuta yo. Tas it's paywayo ma water hen mo sumawayo magagitita mawayo man. There's a long I think it was a long 3 years he was gone. And Mr. Nano tangi yengi kaksate nan. Gawi pukman pam gagiwitse what. Intox na maksit man Saskatoon higman na ya ninanot ngiya nanot nimsak nistesak ngiwitzam na bo itzaya mana naguta. But yeah, that was the time. So it's never too old to go back to school, eh, Fraser?
Mhm.
Tapoy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you reminded me again. And I think that's one of the cool things when you hear the language and the stories and stuff, you end up getting reminded on things. But anyway, last night I picked up my daughter from her mom's and we are driving home back over here. And she's 3. and um, and we're just hanging out, right, listening to music and whatever, visiting. And I asked her last night. I said, "Did you go to school today?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "What did you learn?" And she said we were singing. I said, "What were you guys singing? Show me." And she started singing the number song from Brian Mack.
Nkamamaka.
No, too shy. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. And she was like, got up to Newa, and
Mm-hmm.
then Neon, and couldn't really say Nagutastic, and then Tepagupan and Kigamtata, but she knew the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And I was gonna ask her mama, like, do you know she could do that? Like, she's talking Cree. Yeah, but yeah, so I thought that was really cool.
And that's this kamam school matawan stes Brian Egaya last week too magay. Last week kape tamago yeah. We got it na award, the Inspire Award, an Indigenous Inspiration Award 2025. Itigay to teto ma Vancouver go. Ay pisimo next year 2025 April 9 and 10 pagagam. Maga extekto magitutit kanto gatsit now ma award we meet. Yeah. From now until mutan speed Moits kon pitten kikoi dan spigat tagutet sigo gayam CBC hewi tagutet sig egomanan hegamasin paita sig vignettes mani sigatewa vignettes vignettes sigatewa in French tigwe hewi pe masin paiha sig egoteo yosita sig ay insteso hewi pe giugat so expit tigwe ay Saats min kapiat mo stat na naput hanggang gawi pipiti ko hano minuta kapin gamot siya po ay saat si tapay ki kagwe si tigano nanto sa so gomina kigo mewi base pa kikwan ma steso we kanwap meet ko asute Vancouver in Indigenous Awards Inspire Awards sigate mana. So that's something that we're looking forward to. It's very exciting for us. Kaya kinoesais man gipetos ka tamuis ta nehiya wewen. Eko yeah. Eko man nista na mutigita ma. We're very proud of him. Kinoes ka gipetos ka ta. Eko mstahe ngamunan mstahani patsita. Kya pits pugite. Pugite natagam temi na po sawan no kite apo mo gani hiyawe tsikik timi next kita gigeno egonin gamuna. But nanas ko mamin man iguan tatagisigaw ego Msta hegi petas katan ni hiyawen. But yeah, it was
Yeah, I just want to just butt in real quick, Donna. Just for the viewers out there, she's talking about Brian McDonald and his Cree songs that he has for kids. You could find them on YouTube. So after me and my baby were driving last night, I put it on YouTube and we started listening to those. And yeah, just as a parent, if you want to introduce the language to your kids in a fun way, you could find Brian McDonald Cree songs on YouTube. Yeah, so
yeah, that's good information. Takwe. And you just while you're driving, listen to them. Pretty soon your kids are gonna be singing them.
yeah, especially like that toddler age, you
Mhm.
know, like they
Mm-hmm.
Pero that maybe 3-4 years ago, dated. Exama Brian McDonald songs okay ayan na USB 8 eh. Pero kami na pamitsige yan. Ute na ute. Nigo sakik de buse bustik. Matsiga gigatatik. Spit no to ma USB. Tutige. Ewa mal matsid nigumog sakwisto. Punong tamok. Ay. Uy, date the next be. Sam kakyo wista well. Skita gaya sumo Brian songs really 81 nanto. Yeah. Wista well kunta there. TT we were on their legs.
Okay, goodness. Party songs.
Hey. Someone let's put the party on.
so yeah, and I wish I could talk Cree, but
Kutsita, little words tip taps kutsniya.
okay.
Boko muta kutsita.
Yeah.
Tama, yeah. Tinigwesens tu tao magani hiyawen freezer. Ikaskita nam gani hiyawen. Agamemo.
Taps kutsita. It's just right at the tip of your tongue. Taps kutsita. It's there. Wake it up.
Yeah. The challenge for me right now is like putting them in sentences or one after another. I could put one and then another one, like, but not all back to back. But I'm working on it.
Munanto mi nagsigayto in one and then another and then another. Munanto, that's fine. As long as, tapos kapni hiyawesin. Munanto.
Yeah, mix it up, like English and throw in whatever Cree you can.
Kaskitain, isi kaskitain.
Yeah. So if date amigo, ute nigan moiwayo kisagao. I don't know how you say Remembrance Day, but if you guys want to touch on that coming up.
Ayo mayam. Ewi titipay ko ma. Kakiskis yaman nagaginto. Nuden ke winawak. Kagino to nuden ke tiguti kamaski. Ikaw mo gawi Facebook kaya. Igi nehiwas na hagi ko gagi nehiwas tati ko mamana yam. Poem managi. Igi mas nahawa John McCrae in Flanders Field. Pugiteo te kam negwa ayam euti ai mi tatik mana puti mani agut tatik nanto e wapati wetik in Flanders Field sigateo. Ego game sayam Mr. Makawa. Egi witita sa Raymond no egi witita sa tinis ko tas nahagi kesa. Ego momo te peta ya kispin inutiamitan.
Ukis, skita.
Kaimit ese
Kaskita yan.
casquita, kaimitaw. Negominoma, kispin Gremitan ka moniawas na igati, Rosanita pigata imitaw. Iksigakskite no gadstute no tansitastig. Ekakati giskis no mino gaya nutin gewin no aghitap kya nuti atuita manigo ni kamita
Okay,
ni
yeah.
gamas na igan.
Should we start with this one
Yeah.
and then Cree? Okay.
English niya yaita nagawa Mr. Mac Cree. Hay lumuta in Flandersfield.
In Flandersfield.
Yes.
Neksumita stiga.
Oh. Kakyuchi umuta eh.
Yeah, ni gani gama
Yep.
aimita.
Okay.
Tuchi gati yo aimita.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow between the crosses row on row that mark our place, and in the sky the lark still bravely singing flies scarce heard amid the guns below.
Niwa.
Uh-huh.
Utak stiga ni Flandersfield. Mi pasta no. Mapagunya. Ay ito ay mihewati ko. Igis kinawa sita chigita ka pimsiniak. Ispemik piesi sak mihawak. Kiaps kitok. Kiamata kiaps pas sigana chapas sipitagwaki.
Wow. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders field.
Ninan kaniganut ya namoyo sam kaya ititagon. Nistananigi musita ya kape saga stege go kapaksmuk. Nigisagi anan egwa nigisagi gaunan. Maga egwa nipimsin nan utahu magistigani Flandersfield.
Take up the quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If we break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders field.
Kiewa egwa nut nigana kakswast. Kai suip namat nano masaskotengan. Nines chichan nan egwa. Kia egwa espemego pina. Kispin once kistotoe ake namoyan ma nika ki sepuetanan. Kiama tahwa pagonia yo pigi ke otama kistigani Flandersfield.
Wow.
Ikse.
Miasin Ray.
Ay hay.
Mm-hmm.
Guguta ya mitigo kakaskis ya gista no. Guguta kaginto no ngetsik. Ay iguteo magamaski kape ye. Mstegi mitsetsi komuto tsimino mitsekaskas usaga egene gamina. Ay agam gisnaw nanas komon kananas komanawak. Tas kutsa ya. Ay Honesto manigwe. Ay ngoses ngani gana house Sandy. Kaginto tonod ngit. Nitsewagan George Chache. Smagan spinawat tagaw kapiatos kit Ryan Carter. Pimitseto so Roseanne minomuso maginto ay nutungewa kamaski kimitseto gange kispinegama kinutiay mitan Fraser tipera pon ay wihunwawa.
Ega which war.
Kaya sutse.
The whole list.
Yeah, agatante which ward to go.
Okay. I just wanna before I get into this, I just wanna say something. Listening to what you guys just did there, like English to Cree, the poem for myself, maybe for the viewers out there too, but the imagination listening to it in Cree, like you get a more
Descriptive view.
Yeah.
Vivid picture.
yeah, and you can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about our language.
Yeah.
All right. I'll read this. So Onion Lake First Nations veterans, John Bangs, World War One. Philip William Bangs, World War One. Eli Lepine, World War One. George Loy, World War One. Ed Sampson, World War One. E. Swanson, World War One. Edward Swanson, World War One. Albert Belly, World War Two.
Pega tayo skisya.
Yeah.
Joseph Green, World War One.
Joseph Green, World War.
Saga skutsukusa.
Joseph Green, World War One. Sigaskuchugusa. Cool. Albert Belly, World War Two. Victor Harper, World War Two. David John, World War Two. Victor Machatis, World War Two. Ed McCready, World War Two. Edward Paul, World War Two. Edwin Paul, World War Two. John Paul, World War Two. Lawrence Quinney, World War Two. Arthur Dillon, Korea. Charles Dillon, Korea. Eric Dillon, Korea. Joe Stick, Korea. Ryan Carter, Canadian Forces. Sandy Chokin, Canadian Forces. Ronnie Jimmy, Canadian Forces. George Chache, U.S. Army. Bill Pichow, Korea. Terry Clark, Canadian Forces. Matthew McDonald, Canadian Army Reserves, Edmonton.
May God salwana.
Megat. Raymond McDonald, Afghanistan.
Yeah, one more me nego tayo. Nega kwetsuman utsnan it Bruno Little Wiltshire Army veteran. And we not skate them.
Bruno Little Wolf.
Eksman igito itsaga sige pitok.
Mm.
Mamay.
So,
Mananto.
umusoma.
Higa nega umusum.
Mm.
Ispinawi ko kiwitamago ya.
Mm-hmm. Apo, gispin masin pa yun, apo. Gispin kaganoita kawiyak out there in Witsagas Kosiusa, Gaigan, or Putsi families. Masin pa yun, nagispin kaganoita mek. If you have any pictures of your veterans, gispin kapit sama, kakapit samo ya. You can reach us at 306-344-2525, The Gift of Language, and we are always looking for egotogayas pictures gigwe. That's to veterans, even hockey teams exist gigwe. Graduations, we're always looking for, because we're doing a compilation of Onion Lake timeline.
History.
Yeah, history, timeline, historical.
Mm.
So yeah, that would be another good thing too, to be able to call out here at the podcast.
Yeah.
Kantuita magigwe.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's another thing here. I'm looking at Raymond's book there. Even the ones who went to school and graduated post sec. So if you have your certificates and graduation dates, years, which program you took, bring it to the Gift of Language. They'll give you $20.
Yeah.
Terry's budget. But yeah, I'm looking at his list. There's there's a lot of
Lots.
people in our community with degrees and post-secondary
Mhm.
education.
Page,
There's a lot of,
page, 2-3 pages, and
and that's not even everybody.
no.
I'm not in there. There's 10 of them.
Apo mina awards. Awards min manik de masnaha.
Special awards.
Yeah,
okay.
kigwe gab kakskita.
Good job.
Any awards? Put them in there.
Peter Sinodapskutz, he was honored as a teacher in Saskatoon.
Mm.
Yeah.
Who else?
Maui.
Clinton Chukin. You know, he did a lot. 2001. He went. He played with the
Mm,
Border Kings.
yeah.
They went overseas. Poland to get them.
Yeah.
He won the All-Star trophy. But
Mm.
it's an old book.
I remember seeing that with Gagat.
I mean, Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame. I was negast.
Really?
See, nobody knows that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe next time we could bring him in.
Yeah.
Maybe Donna could. How do you say?
Coerce.
Yeah.
Coerced.
Big squad that.
Kagwe gaskemak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Piton minietos kita isute na. So,
Yeah.
it could be maybe hard for him, but we'll see.
Yeah.
What's him out?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember playing hockey with him. I can't remember where. It was just recently. We were just for fun. The older guys. I think it was hockey. I can't remember, but Nita ni Hewitt and Stahe
Patsita.
Papun.
Mhm.
A lot of laughter. He likes to
Mhm.
tease, and he's really good at using it. Be nice to, and he probably has a lot of stories.
I mean,
Yeah, Peterson too. We should bring both of them and
the penny subject. Awesome.
talk about hockey. They probably have a lot of stories.
Yeah, there's a lot of grad pictures with every year you got.
Ikaw mamoy pag big squad tamay uge ay sino ako to mote. Moy katse moy skate tama kigwayaw ya ki ituta.
Uh-huh.
We should have a don't say it acknowledgement ka kyugi ko mote ay sino ka tuta ke taps ko se magi ko muta. Magais stehem ko ya kaskita ki ko tuta masot.
That's good. So come again, meet that. More skate me gumma.
Yeah. Could I read it?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I'm gonna read this. Ray, I want to show you guys. Let's see. Look at this book. If you see this book here, this is all historical information on Onion Lake. And it's not even all of their research. This is just some of it. Yeah, and there's a lot in here. There's a lot of like memories and there's one here I'm gonna read for the viewers. Member of the Order of Canada. And you'll see this picture here.
Yeah.
Nemo sumtyo na Alec. Gus.
Gus. Yeah. Gus was good.
So this is a picture of Gus Wasquich and the Queen.
Governor General.
Oh, Governor General. Member of the Order of Canada, Gus Wasquich. Elder, Counselor, and Federation of Saskatchewan Nation Senator Gus Wasquich of the Onion Lake First Nation was invested with the Member of the Order of Canada appointment November 17, 1988, investiture April 12, 1989. A community development worker, band counselor, and FSIN senator. He was appealed to his people to recall their past and take responsibility for their destiny, a strong supporter of education. He is also a dedicated field worker, traveling throughout the northern part of the province, lecturing on drug and alcohol abuse and native culture, instilling in the young a sense of pride and purpose. Yeah, so late elder Senator Gus Wasquich received Member of the Order of Canada. And I think that's a high
That's right, yeah.
award, right?
Nagatamat na nito mas naigan, you can look through it.
Sure.
Old one and man.
Oh.
Kutagay singapitan.
Yeah, we have updated ones.
Keeps getting updated.
Wow, there's a lot of old stuff in there.
Hey, Grandma, Batita, those most more recent 20-year-old pictures, class pictures on here. I see no dates. Yo, what year mo ta in grade 3? Tapos ko sige, Grandma, we Batita, yaman.
Yeah.
We could do lots, but sometimes we get caught up. We need updates.
Yeah. All the way back to early 1900s.
18. There's even 18.
There's 1800s in there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 1881.
As far back as Kagim's Kamante information, and then he just keeps adding into the timeline where it would fit. So
Brian and Niga machitat.
mhm.
The years and I added some stuff information him come on the internet. Pretty soon to type by mistake.
Mhm. So yeah, we're always looking for kaya sagi old pictures up, and then we just scan them, and you can take your pictures back. Maga will just scan them in and then we'll add them into the Ray adds them into the timeline. I'm not gonna say we because I don't even know. We have a man, historian. But yeah, it's very interesting. Kaya sa gigotik information. So hopefully, with this timeline, we always think of Onion Lake history curriculum gausita. So man, it's always back of my mind.
Yeah.
Curriculum man guys in the schools. So we just need information on information. Then we can begin. Well, I guess we could have began creating the curriculum guide already.
Same.
Hasegi matsita na mo.
Yeah.
Yeah, hasegi matsita.
Umumayam. Mskaman information. Awita mo. 1885 XPI Frog Lake. That's resistance war, whatever. Like mayam. Still napewak XP. Jersey man. Uganet chawapas.
No pachas.
Unagaw with patas. Well, the third man. Oh, Charbol. Apitogos sanan.
Oh,
Still go get napewak. To paigasotik. After the rebellion. The voices of the Plains Cree I meet again. So my kite school wawa between Frog Lake and Onion Lake. Matse wita ko pait. Itaga meat. Egaya wita mo wato wa Jesse man. Kimpahin moy no te I mean kwatigia
Tagiitasan.
yeah moy no te ami kwatigiitasan. Ego okay. Ne hewa ke meeting to wayatse ke wauta. Piset tapuetatse tapue suma ego. Jesse Mano asigasat kimpahatan na sko. Isana at sko na tuita eksise. Iksana eksita pis tagute wa kanin likan kek. Dagaya utnitse kesa. Utumat Stony Penitentiary dutetsik. George Manama expiatuskit Indian agent. So squatse guana letters nama watay Indian affairs. Really siptatse kange. Hugo Jesse man tipia to the first war crimes ito mapo nanto ekta we stalk Hugo nape wa notin to tsik mo ekta we wa magais we to go kimpaha tsik igwa mag ekse munia keita tsik war crimes peace pak nita na Jesse man eksama research the mama nakakyugui pik squata ma tansu Google tay sini magtanse espay kexpi kakyugi kay
Piste kaya uyasu wita kuin
moya.
chache ka.
That was my other life edit.
XB 1885 judging kita kun.
Judge kita go next pay. Moya. Nagwawa World War II kage misi notin to. Nimo som muni siga so nehio ay Victor Harper. Expina to wista to tetiks ikte to nodin get atamaski ito. Moy gats tanto ito et mana ikwagot sa maki kakyugi go mo he exp. Moy witam tanse kwatagitat magais stone nat matsa aksit matse peak square matse witamago ya tanse kwatagita tiktese tamski I just wanted to acknowledge that tapwena kwatagita tikte maga eksama.
Hey.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go on, I have a prayer. I mean, a poster here. Just for the viewers, we are having a Remembrance Day event at the hall on November 11th on Monday, 10 a.m. We'll have dignitaries there. We'll have a grand entry. We'll be acknowledging some of our youth who went to the Bold Eagle program. Then a multicultural prayer. So, November 11th, 10 a.m. at the hall. Everybody's welcome. Bingo to follow. Grand prize. No, just kidding. But yeah, November 11th, 10 a.m. at the hall. Everybody's welcome. I think they'll have coffee and some lunch. Donna Mac.
Mo examnista na naskuman ay gapi at sumustaw ya ga mamina. Kawi gagi sumutsi. Mamo gagi sumutsik.
Yeah.
Kamyasan ni kon ma. Na naskuman ay. Examen niya.
All right. Mr. Mac.
Aito ko'y umuta kay kapitsa mo yag information. Kasta ako tagi ko'y. Trumega istikom kitate.
Yeah.
Or volumes sagi sita no
Oh, yeah.
years. Some mo guys kinoite no ano ya records ha. That once kasi ko'y. Mo nagatuga no ya. O inagi ko'y ito ta. That's good. So yeah. Oh yeah, kaya ginto in the States gold medal for baton twirling.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Mike skating no gam.
Hand game champions.
Yeah.
Kakyuan. The things we don't really see in life, but ito.
Then,
Ikut to gis ni gigan waitam. Ewa, a lot of missing years sumutum graduates from university. Yeah. Igiga kwit sumakatito gamik skating dance because I went through all the convocation university convocation records. At itipianim skin at is nagipit sa motsk.
yeah. Yeah. So for the viewers, if you didn't catch that, gift of language, Mr. Mac, they're looking for more information for archives. Anything historical that you have with your families, pictures, information, convocations for high school and post secondary and trades. They do have a list that they started already. They just want to keep adding on to it for our unborn, so we could leave them all this and they could understand where we're coming from, who we are. We are a big community, and there's a lot of information that still needs to be captured here, but we need cooperation from the families out there.
Kutaka may names on here. Usita the Cree names. Pai gaya so te kakskisopay te kakite yako uhe. Cree names. The nanto 200 skamaya.
All right. Yeah, we are almost an hour and a half into this. Time just flies when you do this, and it's intimidating at first because it feels like you don't have nothing to say, but once you get going, an hour and a half later, it feels like it was only 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and it's not enough time. So for future programming or guests, yeah, reach out and we could get you on and we can talk about whatever you want to come and share or promote. I know mental health is a big one. I know a lot of our young people are battling in that. And a lot of our young people are like overcoming it. I don't think you could ever really overcome it. Like, I think healing is an everyday process. There's no such thing as a perfect life. But I think a lot of our young people, just from talking about it and hearing other perspectives on it, I think it's helping, giving us more information to help with our own battles. Yeah, and I think we're making improvements in that area just from talking about it. Yeah, so I think with that, if you guys don't mind, we'll shut it down. We'll have closing comments one more time, round table, and then we'll shut it down. And Um, yeah, we'll yeah. So we'll start to my right over here with Miss Harper, and then we'll come around.
Ego maito ina uskay ako uge katakitatsik. Magi msteheo my paya muta kitaskino. Kay kakskisupaya ugoge katakitatsik uskay. Ayama kakskisupayan kakskisupayan Chaguswa 2013 X people matsit. Egwa atsuguma 10 years morning ito kaki tansen jaksa ko tansawak utansa pise kaskita tsikau umuta aski matse kois mamtenita gek kois ki goi tuta ge matse kau matse snamax tsik ikwa ma tansumu mayam ikaskita tsik ikwe um tansito manuma matse they started living again ito They mourned for 10 years. My nieces, they started living again 10 years later and they're starting to pick up. I just want to acknowledge that we do need to help our people. There's so much grieving and we see it every day that it's just normal now, almost normal and shouldn't be. We have to acknowledge those that are left behind. Ikaw kan ke mam de nema gek uskaya kan gek sama nista.
Hi, hi, Mr. Mac.
That's it. Ego po gitsunod sumatro information kigo kapit sa mo ya. Ay kat mas nama ko taga kigo ta. Igwa ay kay gon skisi ni hiyo kyo ni hiyo na ogispin. Yak su kay tesik man ay English people speak English. Germans speak German. Spanish speak Spanish. Kispin mo'y Cree ni hiyawan kiway kaya. You know, you're not English. You're not Spanish, German. So ko kung nakachita ka ni hiyawik. Exit ka.
Spanish New Year.
Hi, hi. Yeah, Rosan's a Mexican.
Mexicano.
Yeah.
Oh, some days I can speak Cree really well. Other days I'm just a little bit off.
Yeah, no, you're doing really good,
Mhm,
and I think it's good for the viewers to see that, you know.
mhm.
Yeah. So, Miss Mac.
Niistä tepään penanaskoman. Tapua ja kagi matsatos kianet tego itamat na gigwe. Ay pegas kiumego hegi pegiwian Saskatoon manigiatos kian ay egote ni saskiek tegin toya yan nista yan tan so ego pewitse hak makangi pegiwan anegwa pegas kiumego te yan ego katsumostat na gigwe kape kagi pegiwian o tego ya Roseanne pe matsa wichatoske mak
Mhm.
mo stay gine here with
Yeah.
ego mani tani ke makawa
Yes,
Pisa ko, ayan, giwita mo wow. I think I brought it to her attention. Ay, kagwene hiyaw ini tak. How to? Except up, I gave her that I think it's a challenge.
Mhm.
Tuno megigo ka pinihiyawit manigon ay mamitse hit
Mm.
mistahe pe wiste pe pe ay nugo tati go ito go tun squats e go nan into tamana kani hiyaw am ga tsimo apo kape giuge ti atsimo amane temane pe tinantuta so teo te wiste go matse tene ka go tsite go ni hiyawit nanas ko maumana mamitse hik ego poga tapo ka memo ya ka kwene hiyaw ya ego minaya tapos after work manan higagi questan classes tapos nistaman ginanestosen ego maya pix kutaga ngay sinog wisto podcasts man yesta tiga po virtual classes in the evening at simona extipa at simotsig ego tapos tiga kaksama ge manu different strategies ego tita ego mega imam tinit man tan sumagay taman ego ego exam iti tuan eksipogo pagagam virtual kitam sam snamage wak minuge kanute
Naestos.
kanute ata nute pe witap ngwago 5 o'clock in the afternoon though after teaching 40, 50 kids a day it's like brain dead mo kaskita wag apunan istos wag so ma'am tinit man tan sutigom gitu tama put the good pagaya. Maybe it's weekend time, no more weekends or wherever I am. Like it's virtually to join. But that's something that tapwitiga we can I'll think about again and then I'll start emailing again and invites kape to join Exigigwe. So just be on the lookout for that because I'm trying different like I've been thinking tanso my wakagitu taman to try and help especially the administration, kasnamagawak the teachers that want to. There's no time in the day. I got tapaman gaito. It's like, you know what? I only have enough time. My brain works 8 hours and then that's it. I want to shut it off for a while because it gets to be too much. So yeah, try something like that to try and help. We will keep doing. And tapoy to no maga tiga step pa ego ma it does help because
Mhm.
musta sigman gaginto kanuapata mo kanton to target because you can just Google or YouTube OLCN seventh generation podcast. Like magape masin pa and then they can go and listen to it again because that's a lot of times I do that katoskiano ma and you're having a podcast. I can't just always come on to watch your podcasts. In the evening when I have downtime, tigaman and tontunin, tigaman nantutin, aputi tutaman. I just listen to your podcasts. And not necessarily do I sit there and watch because I'm busy doing other things, but I listen,
Mhm.
which is a good thing. And then I've learned actually a lot of quite a few things from your podcast with your guests Nista na nasko manigang mutsa. It's very interesting, and I'm actually, when I do go places, I always say, yeah, check out Onion Lake Cree Nation seventh generation podcast and YouTube it, and so they do. So a lot of them are like, oh, that's so awesome, so cool. Onion Lake is so cool, and I'm like, yeah, but yeah, nasko mon. Kakyota kagwe kigwe pues kagwe pe pasaguna ma nanas ko manigo manista Ego siti go sats kitam neo gisigage kitam gatagutano.
Yeah. Hi, Donna. Yeah, thanks for those acknowledgments. It it goes a long way, to hear things like that because a lot of times we don't hear much feedback. We don't know who's watching. We don't know who goes back to watch and what kind of impact it's making. So it kind of feels like we're guessing,
Mm.
trying to find our way in the dark. So it means a lot to hear something like that. Um, especially like outside of our community. Other natives out there, our neighbors. Um, yeah, and even to see the shares or the engagements on the internet. We do have engagements from like Canada and the USA, which is kind of it's a lot. Like it is what it is, it's music, that people are find this interesting. um and to know that people are listening and that it's reaching people out there far away, not just us here. um yeah, so it's good to hear things like that once in a while. It kind of makes you feel like you're on a good path. Nistai gutta igwe insigats igwe mutyan igwe manatsitayan umumatuskeon moyawiak igwe ksimak, tepianista igwe witsitasyan. So it's good. It's good to hear that once in a while. um yeah, so I think with that, again, thank you guys for coming. Nanas kaman ipitagutig. um yeah, and yeah, looking forward to the next one as always every Thursday. Make sure to mark that in your calendar. And yeah, eguta kanagino swatski tam. Hi hi, meugi sagan sikakyo. Hi hi, kitam.
Hey, hey.
Mm.